Yo guys, what is up? So you want to install Emby on your CentOS 8 distribution, right? You choose the right video. I will guide you through the process. If you watched already one of my tutorials before, you know already that I like to explain why I'm doing some commands and actions in my videos. So you're twice winner because you really learned something. In this video, we will create a remote instance on GCP for Google Cloud Platform with the CentOS 8 running on it. Then we will install all the prerequisites to install Docker and Docker Compose. That will be the base needed to run containers on our Linux distribution. Finally, we will create our first YAML file for Docker Compose, which is the manifest that describes what containers we want to deploy and run with specific parameters that we will define together. So let's do it. Okay, so I have my browser right here. And first, I will go on GCP to create my new instance, so I will be able to deploy a new instance into the cloud with the free plan offered by GCP, and I will be able to install CentOS 8 on it. So I click here, then I will sign in. Once you're signed in, you click on Get Started for free to access your console. So you end up here. You click here on the navigation menu, Compute Engine, VM instances. I don't have any VM instances running right now, so I will click on Create. Then I will put my new instance on US Central 1, doesn't matter the zone also. I will choose N1 and F1 micro because in my case I just want to do a test to show you how to install Docker Compose, so I don't need a powerful machine, I will say. And you can see that your first 744 hours of F1 micro instance usage are free this month, so it's included into the free package from GCP. Then I will go on boot disk here. I will click on CentOS because I want the CentOS distribution, the 8. And I will click on select here, so it will automatically deploy the new instance with CentOS 8 Linux distribution on it. All the information that are here are not very important for our tests, okay? So I will just click on create and I will pass the time it takes to create the instance because you don't have a lot of time, and tada, it's done. So now I will connect to my instance through the browser. You can connect with different SSH client if you want, like Qt, but I will use the browser window, and then it will connect automatically to my new instance. If you're not lazy like me, I am a lazy boy, so I don't want to write sudo because different commands that you will write here in this tutorial will need the root permission, okay? So I don't want to write sudo each time at the beginning of all my commands, so I will just switch to root account. But first, I will need to change the password for the root account because I don't have any clue of the current password and I'm pretty sure it's like totally empty, you know. So I will do a sudo passwd root and I will create a very basic password. But if you want to use the configuration that you are setting right now for production purposes, I think you should put a strong password, okay? Not the one I am writing here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's the dictionary tray. Oh my god, it's too simplistic. Okay, I like Linux, you know. I will say 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. Okay, now if I'm doing a sudo, not a sudo, but so switch user su root 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. It's working, okay? It's not like in the best practices because the password is shorter than 8 characters, and the first one I tried to put like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 was too simplistic, so put a stronger password, okay? It's my advice, final advice. Now you are on the root account. I want you to do a DNF update, update -y, so it will force the update to be applied. It will take a long time, so I will just go at the end of the result of the command. It's starting, it's installing all the stuff. Okay, it's done. Now we will write a command to add a new repository in the system. So when we would like to install Docker Community Edition, we will be able to find it through the new repository. So you will write dnf config-manager add repo equal https://docker.docker.com/linux/CentOS/docker-ce.repo. That's it. Adding repo from blah blah blah. It's working. Now to check if everything is working well, we will do a dnf list docker-ce. And well, the dnf package manager was able to find the Docker CE package right there. Now we will ask DNF to install it. So to install docker-ce with the no best option, the no best option will say to DNF, okay, if you are not able to comply with a specific dependency, don't yell and just use the local package version you have. And -y, because we don't want to say yes, yes, we want to install the package. Enter. So it's installing. Okay, it's completed. Now we want to run Docker as a service, right? Because Docker is installed and should be run as a service on your Linux distribution. To do so, we will ask systemctl to start Docker. And because we want the service to run, even if we are rebooting or booting the system, we will ask systemctl to enable it, enable Docker. So the service will run and restart if you reboot the system. Now let's see if everything is running well, doing a docker -- version, and we can see that the Docker version is coming here, so 20.10.5. Now we want to test the Docker Community Edition engine. So we will do a docker run hello world, and we can see the message here, right there, hello from Docker. This message shows that your installation appears to be working correctly. Hooray! So, the first part of the tutorial is here. We install Docker, and now we will install in the second step Docker Compose. To do so, we will need to get from the internet the last version. So we will try if curl is installed, and well, curl is already installed. If it's not the case on your distribution, you can just do a dnf install curl with the -y, and it's saying that it's already there, so we don't have any conflict or dependencies or whatever. So now to get the last version of Docker, we will need to go on the Git repository. So let's go back to our browser. I will go there, and I will go on Google because it's easier, writing docker compose GitHub, and we have compose repository release, and we can see that it's a 1.28.5. So let's go back to our main console, and here we will write this curl -l capital L double quotes https://github.com/docker/compose/release/ I told you 1.28.5, which is the last version as today, /docker-compose, and look at this. We will have a dash, we will have a dollar, parentheses, uname-s, dash, dollar, uname-m, double quotes, dash O, and we will put this into USR local bin docker compose. So let's execute this command here. It will download the last version here. Now we need to add the executable parameter to our docker compose. So I will do a chmod +x to our docker compose, which is located in local bin, and docker compose. Now, if I am doing a docker-compose --version, it will show us the last version we have. It's working well. So now we have all the bases and the prerequisites for installing and deploying our Emby onto our operating system. Docker compose is here, so let's do our first manifest first, YAML file. So my advice here is to create your manifest in a place where you will be able to access. So I will create it into var. I will go into var, and I will do a nano. So I will test if I have nano. I don't have nano, so it's a good example where you will be able to install the package nano. So I will do a DNF install nano. It will say I have this package. I will say yes, go ahead. Nano is now installed. I will do a nano docker-compose-yaml. Now I will write version. It will be the 3.5. So it's that the last version of Docker Compose. Here, now I will define my service to be able to run Emby into the container. Services, Emby, and now I have to define the image I wanna use. To do so, I will go back into my browser, and there is something called Docker Hub. You go on Docker Hub, you go onto the search bar, you write Emby, and you have Emby Server. So the image name will be Emby Server. I will write it here. Now I have to define the tag I want to get. Let's say I want to get the beta tag, so I would just put beta at the end of the image name. Now I will define a container name, and it will be Emby. I want also the container to have a specific host name, so I will say host name, and it will be Emby Server. I want also to say to my container and to my Docker Compose that I want the container to restart automatically each time the server is rebooting, for instance, or each time there is a failure on the container. So I will say always. I will use a specific network that I will call my bridge. We will see how to create the my bridge network after. I will define some ports. The 8096, which is the default HTTP port for Emby. I will also define the 8920, that is the HTTPS port for Emby, the default one. I will also use the 7359 in UDP mode only, that is used by Emby for, I think, streaming stuff. And I will use the 1900 in UDP2 also for streaming stuff. Now I will define some volumes. We will have this one here. You will need this volume here to synchronize the time between the host and the container, as well as where you want to store your configuration for the container for Emby. So I will say home docker user / Emby, and I will say that into the container it will use the config directory. Now you will have to define at least one directory for your medias. So it would be home docker user -medias and /medias into the container. Now I want to say something about the ability of Emby to use your video card encoding algorithm and chips. You have two kind of algorithm that you can use from your video cards. It's the VAAPI and the NVDEC NVENC from NVIDIA. You have to check the setup here, but basically you have to use this command on your Linux and you will see the GID you have to put into your configuration, and the same here for the NVDEC NVENC, okay? Basically, you will have to say that you want to share between the host and the container this renderer here. So you will have to define the devices section here and put your renderer path here, right there. So you have to say, I want to share the dev.dri render D128 to this one also into the container. So you will share the device. On my side, I won't put that. Because I don't have that, I am into a virtual machine that is not sharing from the host the renderer, so I won't put that. We will have to put some environment parameters there. The first one is the UID. So basically what account the container will run. And so far we don't have any clue, right? We don't have the UID. Then we have to define the GID of the account. Another parameter here for the environment is the time zone you want to run the container with or in. And then we have to put the GID list. And to do so, you have to run this information here. Let me show you. Control X, Y, and then I will run the command here. So I have a 39, and this one will give me the other number. So I have a 31 and 998. I'm coming back to my Docker Compose YAML file, and I will put 39 and 998. Okay, so the setup is completed. Don't forget that you should have the renderer, so the device section and the renderer right above my environment section here if you want to use your video card capabilities. Ctrl X, Y, and now I will show you how to create your Docker user. So it will be the command add user, which is here. So I will say add user Docker user. Great. If you want, you can do a pwd Docker user, but it doesn't matter in our specific use case because it's just the container that will use this user to run. We won't have to connect to this account through the console or through the bash. Now I will add this Docker user into a group of user, and I will create this group. So group add Docker group. Now I will do a user mode AG my Docker group Docker user. So it will associate Docker user to the Docker group. Okay, now I want to get the ID of the user, Docker user. I will do an ID Docker user. And I can see here that the UID is 1001. And well, I can see also where the Docker user is associated as groups. Okay, so we have several groups here, and the group I will use is the 1003. If I want to see all the groups I have on the system, just a side command here. You can do a cat, everything is in etc group, and you can see all the groups here. And I can see that my Docker group here with the group ID 1003 is containing this user Docker user. So the UID of the user I want to use is 1001 and the group ID is 1003. So now I know that I can go into my Docker Compose YAML file, and for the UID here we just put 1001, and here for the group ID I will put a 1003. Control X, Y, enter. I am done. So now I want to run my Docker Compose YAML file that can contain also other services. It's up to you to define several services, and the Docker Compose will run all these services. Okay, to start the service now, I have my Docker Compose YAML file. I will do a Docker Compose up. So the image is pulled from the Docker Hub servers. It's downloading it, extracting it, and now it says that my network my bridge is not found, right? So we have to create this one. So I will do a Docker network create my bridge. So my new network is created for Docker, and now if I am doing a Docker Compose up, it will start. All right, it's starting. So as you can see, my remote server is like a little bit slow. On your computer it should be really fast. I have only one vCPU there, so, and a very low amount of memory. Okay, I will kill this one, graceful stopping, and I will force it. Okay, now what I want you to do, because if you look at the different ports we define into the YAML file, you can see that we ask the container to expose these 4 ports, okay? But the host is by default with the firewall, not giving access from outside of the host, right? And for an Emby container server, it's a shame because accessing only from the server where Emby is installed is pretty useless, because you want to have access to all your medias from the different computer on your local network and even from outside of your network, so from outside your house. So what we will do here, I'm coming back here in the command, I will write firewall cmd list all, so we will have another view of what are the different ports and protocols open. I want to be more specific here, so I want to get from the zone public the different ports that are opened, zone equal public. I don't have any ports open there. I will add this command here, not for the 500 but the 8096. I want also to add the 8920. We have also the 7359 for UDP, and we want to add the 9000 in UDP. Now, if I am checking the ports here, I can see that all the previous ports I just asked the firewall CMD to open for us on the host are open now. And finally, to be sure that the firewall is really getting instructions about opening these ports, I will run this command here to reload the firewall, and it's done. The last thing I want you to do, and I will show you a very great command here to be able to update automatically all the different containers you are specifying into your YAML file. So basically with Emby here, because in our tutorial we installed only one container, but you can define a lot of containers into your YAML file. I will do a pwd, so we are in var. I will write cd var and docker compose pool. This command here will ask docker compose to get a new version of the different containers specified into your YAML file. And docker compose up-d. Up will say run the different services, run the different containers, and the -d will say into the background, because as you saw before, if I am not putting -d, it won't run into background and you will see all the commands into your screen. So basically your console will just been busy with all these comments and you won't be able to write any comments on it. And docker system prune f. What docker system prune is doing is checking all the cache, because when you download different docker images you will have a big cache of images remaining there, because the docker system itself, the docker engine, won't do a cleanup for you at this level. So you have to specify to Docker that you want to get more spaces for unused images on your system. And the -f will save you a lot of time, because you won't have to say, yes, I want to delete all this stuff, all this cache, all these images unused on my system. So if I run the command here, it will pull, it will say it's up to date. It will say I deleted these containers because it's not used anymore. And that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed my tutorial. I invite you to put your comments in the comment section below the video. As usual, like, follow with notifications on, because I've got a lot of stuff coming and I'm pretty sure you will enjoy it. Have a great day. Goodbye.